Justice, never met her. We gonna open up these streets. Good morning, Minneapolis. Yes, this is Onsite Public Media's Good Morning Minneapolis. I'm your host, Toussaint Morsing. We're reporting live from Shep Thompson's house. How you like that, y'all? How you like that? In obvious news today, Minneapolis struggles to find funds for sustainable housing, but hot damn, they got enough money to turn downtown into the Thunderdome. Whew. Okay, in headlines today, George Floyd Square, otherwise known as the Zone, or if Andrea Jenkins is referring to it, the no-go zone, which is just another way for saying that's the nephew you never wanted. Thank you, Andrea. Yes, the George Floyd Square zone is in the headlines today because Minneapolis Public Works, the people that would refer to BLM as Bike Lanes Matter, it's the entity that is in charge of the city's infrastructure, roads, sidewalks, curbs, all that good stuff, has put out yet another survey, and it reads, the city of Minneapolis is committed to seeking justice, healing from trauma, and recognition of the humanity of Black lives. We seek to do this by working with the community to reconnect 38th and Chicago after the conclusion of the upcoming Derek Chauvin trial. The city's overriding goals are to support the needs of residents and businesses while honoring the importance of racial healing and reflection in this sacred space. Oh, I just love flowery writing. It's so pretty and nice. It's just like a really nice way to introduce what you're about to say next, which is, yo, can we like open up this square, get this fist out of here? I need this bus line to go through here. Come on, business as usual, y'all. Minneapolis Public Works continues. We are surveying residents and businesses to determine the preferred option for the interim design. We encourage you to vote for your preferred option. The deadline for sending the enclosed postcard back to the city is Monday, March 15th. Preferred option. I mean, if they said it one more time, I feel like Beetlejuice would have appeared. Preferred option. It's like another way of saying, am I right? Or am I right? Right? We got some new ads for Minneapolis Public Works because it seems that, the city's kind of into propaganda nowadays, and we figured we'd come up with a few. Here we go. Minneapolis Public Works. We spoke to what we believe to be at least one Black people, so let's open up these streets. Minneapolis Public Works. We surveyed an entire metro area to decide what we're going to do with 2 square city blocks. Minneapolis Public Works. Robin Hutchison failed upwards, and you can too. Minneapolis Public Works. No justice? Sort of justice. I've never met this family before, but we're going to open up these streets. All right, also in headlines is the Minneapolis City Council. Yes, they made international headlines again for yet another failure on the City Council's part. Yep, Minneapolis City Council walked back an initiative to hire 6 social media influencers to speak to communities of color. They wrote, the city is collaborating with social media partners to share public information with cultural communities and to help dispel potential misinformation during the upcoming trials of the former officers involved in the killing of George Floyd. Which is another way of saying, look, if you don't trust the people that killed your neighbors, then we don't trust you. City Council is so funny, y'all. I can't rack my brain around it. It's just so nuts. Like, I wonder who they would have hired for social media. Oh no. City Council actually planned to hire social media influencers to speak to Black, Indigenous, Latinx, Hmong, and Somali communities. I mean, what was your tagline gonna be? All are still welcome here. White people. Can you imagine the trust between you and your friend of color being so far gone that you have to hire an ad agency to rebuild it? I mean, what are you going to do? Like, hey, my brother, seen that meme lately? Do you want to laugh at it together? And maybe, it's gone, isn't it? And the city council was going to spend $1.2 million to pay $2,000 to 6 social media influencers. Now, we don't have a mathematician on staff here at Onsite Public Media, but, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. Let's figure this out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. $1.2 million just to speak to people of color. I mean, can you imagine spending that much money just to speak to Black, Indigenous, Latinx, Hmong, and Somali people? That's insane. I mean, you might as well just quit your job and give the money to people of color to fill the seats and then speak to the people like them. Anyways, moving on. CBS writes, the goal is to increase access to information to communities that do not typically follow mainstream news sources or city communications channels and or who do not consume information in English. Oh, so English was the problem. I get it. Yeah, that's not like during this trial the world won't be watching and it won't be, I don't know, translated from Finnish to Tagalog. Okay. Speaking of culture, Minnetonka somehow made its way into the headlines of national news after a middle school teacher taught their students about Marsha P. Johnson, which then was recorded by a student, leaked to media, made its way all the way to Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire, and then was reported on by Michael Knowles from the Death Star.
Johnson's work paved the way for a louder and more prominent voice in the injustices that were being done in and to the gay community. The interesting part here is that Johnson himself was actually discriminated against by the community for being a drag queen. In 1973, the committee in charge of a pride parade said that they were not going to allow drag queens at the march because they felt that they were giving the community a bad name.
That's actually a very telling aspect. I mean, first of all, this lesson plan is obviously not suitable for 11-year-olds.
Okay, so it's appropriate to teach students about slavery and how slaves had chores and jobs and the plantation and everything was chill, and Black history starts as slavery, and the Pilgrims were friendly. Tell us more, Michael Knowles.
Should not be paying tax money and sending your kids to schools so that your 11-year-old can hear hagiographies of transvestite prostitutes.
Look, I get it. You're saying that it's not appropriate for 11-year-olds to learn about this, but I'm just going to go ahead and push back on you, Michael, and say that Mr. Perucco's class is probably better at empathizing than you are just for learning about Marsha P. Johnson. And we don't have time to go into why Michael's transphobic, xenophobic, racist language is problematic. We don't have time to go into why he's mentioning hagiography to slam a human being that did amazing things and impacted their community in amazing ways to compare it with sainthood. We don't have time for that. And if you knew anything about Marsha P. Johnson, you would know the P stands for pay it no mind. So pay it no mind, Michael. Pay it no mind. Yeah, city council may have abandoned looking for a social media influencer to speak to people of color. Well, let me tell you who they could hire to not speak to amazing people of color. That's Michael Knowles. You could probably phone him at his press room in Mordor. All right, that'll do it for us here at Good Morning Minneapolis at Onsite Public Media. Thank you to the 58 monthly members we have right now. Gosh darn it, we're trying to get there. We got No Cap Recap, we got a Serious Moment with Serious Marie, and we have 2 or 3 more shows that will be surfacing during the trial of Derek Chauvin. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Feel free to email us at onsitepublicmedia@gmail.com if you have any questions or you want us to cover something in the next coming weeks. We love y'all. We'll see you in the next one. Our work is never done.